you see, boy, we see a whole heap of things are going on in the parliament. With the speaker, especially the speaker of the house. We see with the mace. And then now we hear yesterday she declared that there should be no speaking of Creole, Patois in the House of Parliament. What's your thought on that?
Well, it just shows her colonial upbringing, because when you want to put a colonial upbringing in front of the people and foisting upon the people, that means you become a dictator. And we have to get to this lady and let her know that Jamaican are strictly African people, majority of the stock. And we have spoken Creole, Patois, whatever you want to call it, from ever since. And we need to make sure understand that the Jamaican parliament, when we become a republic, Patois will be the language of the people.
Yes.
The speaker said no Patois. Patois, that is Jamaican language. But somebody is allowed to speak Spanish in parliament. But then again, rules are rules, right?
No, Nekeisha Bershel, I know I'm related to you fully in a girlie. But you know I'm in a pick side. I fuck you though. You can't sit down in a parliament and want to chat Patois. Remember Nekeisha Bershel. The government, the parliament is a puppet house. Is a slave master's playpen. The whole only way in there, a puppet for the system. So you have to play by the system rules. So I'm not going to tolerate Nekeisha Bershel come in a parliament to chat Patois like she a one away. No, you are not one of us. Remember, you sit with the slave masters them and the slaves them, the house slaves them. Remember, everybody in a parliament are house niggers, you know. So Nekeisha Bershel, you're a house nigger. Don't try to act like you're a field nigger with me. You're a house nigger, so act appropriate, set example. But I come in the Patois business, Patois belong to we, not Uno. You see it?
And why Patois can't talk in a parliament? And me alone see a problem with this? Why Patois? We native tongue. Patois is something where majority of Jamaica, it alone I understand. A huge portion of Jamaica never finish high school, much less for spell college. And a huge number of them they're illiterate. They barely can speak standard English. So you mean to tell me that them not gonna understand what I say in a parliament then? They won't be able to decipher the manner of rubbish what una fling across each other in a parliament then? Because why? The man and him woman believes say okay it is unprofessional to speak Patois, our native tongue. Why? Why is it unprofessional to speak our native tongue? Something what the world are trying to adapt now. They're literally hiring people to come and translate Patois. AI is speaking Patois and understanding Patois. So why is it banned in parliament proceedings? I don't understand.
Tuesday, Nekeisha, PNP member of parliament for somewhere down in St. James there. She took the podium. Madam Speaker, me get up this morning from out of my seat to make my first presentation in a day. Of course, the speaker will have none of that. No. And this, you know. And guess what? One bag of argument turn over. Because Jamaica people nick us in a twist. How come we can't talk Patois in the house and this and Ray and all kind of thing? No, first of all, let me make it clear. You know, the speaker never do nothing wrong. You know, me not a big fan of Juliet Holness. You know, because I'm just not a fan of how they practice politics. But me not a fan of Jamaica politics, period. Because our politics not really do nothing to develop the country. That's my personal view. But as I said, the people look on it like say, the speaker a reprimand Nekeisha Bershel. But she wasn't. Under the laws of Jamaica, right?
Madam Speaker, that Jamaica siga siendo un buen vecino y amigo a la gente del gobierno cubano. Nuestra historia y amistad ha sido lleno del apoyo de Cuba en muchos aspectos. especialmente en educación y la asistencia médica, por todo lo que Cuba ha hecho, no solo por Jamaica, pero por todo el mundo. Jamaica siempre va a negociar por el fin de este bloqueo ilegal. Jamaica siempre está al lado del gobierno y la gente cubano y para luchar contra el bloqueo, para nuestra amistad. Madam Speaker, I wish to indicate for the benefit of those in the House that I have conveyed to the Cuban ambassador and the people of Cuba that Jamaica continues to be a good neighbor and friend to the people and government of Cuba, that our history and friendship has been a shared history full of assistance from Cuba across many aspects, especially in the fields of education and healthcare. For all that Cuba has done, not only for Jamaica, but for the world, Jamaica will continue to negotiate for the end of the illegal blockade against Cuba. In essence, my lady, and I thank you for your indulgences.
Member of Parliament for St. James, the Honourable Nekeisha Burrell, made her debut at Gordon House a few days ago. And the first thing she did was to start her speech with dialect of the nation, which is Patois. Immediately, she was stopped by the Speaker of the House, Juliet Holness. She was told blatantly that, hey, Patois is not accepted in the House. Miss Burrell then challenged the notion. She said, hey, why shouldn't I speak Patois when almost every single person in this country, this is the language of the country, and I am a minister on culture, so why am I being censored? I later saw her on TVJ's, I think Smile Jamaica with Neville, and she mentioned that her intention was not to be disrespectful, but it was to be disruptive. She wanted to disrupt. And I realize that a lot of persons do not realize that there is a distinctive difference between being disrespectful and being disruptive. When you disrupt, you interrupt something, you stop it. Disrupt is to stop, pause. When that happens sometimes, when one is disruptive, it calls for accountability and it calls for change. Being disrespectful has to do with your attitude, your behavior. What I notice about most Jamaicans is that they are very disrespectful towards those who are set to lead, but they are not disruptive enough. And in order to elicit change, we have to be disruptive. You have to put a stop to it. You have to force your way in there. All the while not being disrespectful. You have to speak up. I want you guys to understand another thing. Most of the times when a young person, especially women, tries to speak up, try to bring about change, it is often looked at as being disrespectful or looked at as disrespect. So what will you be today? Will you be disruptive or will you be disrespectful? That's it. That's all. Thank you. Bye.
Tell us about young Nekeisha. What was she like?
I'm the daughter of a pastor. I was always a behind the scenes kind of person.
What's the biggest lie you've ever heard about yourself?
I've heard that I'm dating the Prime Minister.
Oh, God forbid.
God forbid.
God forbid. Another rumor, because again, we're replacing
Jesus,
it
there's so
all
much rumor
here.
about me. I've heard everything from my cheeks are fake, my lips are fake, my lashes are fake.
To answer the rumor or the question, you've never done any cosmetic surgery.
I don't want to be a hypocrite about this.
We see the conversation about body makeover thing. Do you think that your image also heightens people actually being interested? Do you think though being a public figure affects your ability to date freely?
Dating is difficult. Am I gonna go on Tinder?
No, sir.
Am I gonna put my profile on a dating app? I've dated men, that's for sure.
In the career field of politics?
I've dated men in a lot of career fields. I never grew up with this great ambition to be married and to have children. Every man I'm associated
Them
with,
say do it?
them say me do it. So by the time we leave here,
Them say me do it?
you're going to have problems with a girl.
I'm single, by the way. I'm just putting that out there.
Me too.
Okay. Love that. I just found out so much about you in just a short span of time. Why don't you do like more interviews?
It's been a near 16 years career in political communication. I've spent that building political careers. I don't know. Politics call. I'm an accidental politician. Politics is a very male-dominated sport.
You, apparently blurred lines by, using dub plates on Popcorn and others, obviously. Were you criticized for that publicly or behind closed doors? Were there any moment or moments that you thought to yourself, I'm gonna feel like I'm going this at all?
I actually thought I would have come out of it with a wider margin.
What is your end goal in politics?
I'm thinking about how we can truly package brand Jamaica, not just make it a buzzword. Oh my, yeah, that's very emotional. I think I would say you'll be able to one day afford more than one pair of white uniform for school. Of course I couldn't afford it because I'm poor.
See, I understand.
I only learned this yesterday, but did you know that in the Jamaican House of Parliament, whenever you're making a presentation, a contribution, or addressing anything in Parliament, that you cannot talk Patois? Did you know that? Well, I'm here to give you the full detail where that is concerned in this video. Yes, now, according to what is being said, the standing order prevents you from talking Patois. When you're addressing Parliament, the standing order states that you must speak standard English. Well, you will find out. Yes, my people, alright? It's a Thursday and I'm early with this post. I hope your day has been going great so far. One post a day keep idleness away. So here's Virtual TV, not forgetting to give you a post every single day, different location, different setup with a whole heap of new things to come. You know the intro by now, but just stay tuned. In the meanwhile, leave a like on the video, share the video, repost the video, and follow the page. Now, Nekeisha Burchell, she was struck down in Parliament yesterday as she was warned. Now, according to the House Speaker, Juliet Holness, she says that whenever an MP or any member of Parliament is making an address in Parliament, you should do so in standard English. That's what the rules say, or according to what I say, the standing orders. Don't believe me? Well, listen to this, everybody.
You may begin. Madam Speaker, me get up this afternoon to make my first sectoral speech for my portfolio. Hold on. Standing orders. And I think you are fully aware. And if I have to stop you again during your presentation, you will not get any additional time. No, and she knows. Standing order 6, page 3. Let's speak to
So hear me now. This they say they're debating that when Terry Lounge was speaking Spanish the other day, why wasn't he interrupted? He was, of course, by Everal Warmington. Everal Warmington saying he don't understand Spanish. That's what he says. Yes, you cannot speak our native language in the Jamaican Parliament. Learn something new every day. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the day, my people. Stay tuned. Big up.
Having listened to Nekeisha Burchell during the sectoral debate on Wednesday and hearing her going after nationwide, I think she's treading on dangerous grounds. Because what I've noticed is that other members of the PNP are not as vocal as Nekeisha. And chances are that she's being used as the attack dog while they lay back behind her, offering support but not in the forefront. So when the autoclaps hit, she's the one who's going to be facing the consequences of her action. The media is very powerful and should never be underestimated. The media can make you or they can break you. And I think Nekeisha is treading down a very dangerous and slippery path. There are certain persons within the party make themselves available to nationwide. Not Dayton Campbell, not Nekeisha Burchell. Burchell. And to fight with the media is never ever a good idea. So for persons who know this young lady, advise her to look into her actions. Who else is doing the task that she's doing? And why does she feel compelled to be the one putting her neck on the block, basically? Politics, the media are all intertwined together. Nationwide is able to get information from hierarchies within the PNP. They are able to get information from hierarchies within the GLP. They are able to get information from civil society interest groups. And that is not something to be taken lightly, because the media is a powerhouse. They can make you, they can destroy you. Having listened to Nationwide on a regular basis, I am certain that they have enough information on a lot of these politicians that if they were ordinary vloggers, a lot of you people life would be devastated based on what they know, based on information that has been furnished to them. But they have to operate under certain protocols. Stop waging war with people who have reach, who have influence, who has access to information within your own party. Gentle folks, you are young, budding politicians, bright, smart, articulate. Stop this war with the media. Focus on the task representing your constituency and leave that to the older folks within the party to fight and wage those wars. But you be smart. Stay out of it.
This is Talk Sense Media, your voice of reason in the noise.
The Speaker of the House said, "You knew better." And she said it 2 times. She said, she knows better. You knew better.
I knew better than to not represent my culture, for the people of Jamaica to not hear their language, to hear themselves in Parliament. I was asked a question about Dr. Brown Burke's lifting the mace. And I said in response that if you don't have rules and order, there will be chaos. Yes. I accept that some of those rules probably shouldn't be there, but they are there. So why don't you follow the rules that are there, and then when the time comes, if possible, change them? But why the rules are there, why don't you follow them? So when is the time? And when?
Well, you should tell me that when the time is.
Exactly, which is why I raised that mirror for parliamentarians, for legislators to look at themselves. Is this how you want to represent your parliament and your people in 2026? That was me disrupting it. That was me spurring the conversation to say it's time for change. And clearly Parliament wasn't ready for that conversation. But you know who's ready for it? The diaspora. Who's ready for it? Jamaica is ready for that conversation. And they're having the conversation. I get the controversy, but controversy is good. That is how culture evolves. I want Jamaicans, I want our children to be able to rigorously learn and speak the English language. But I want them to intelligently navigate the Jamaican language. I want them to own it, because language is confidence. I want our people, I want our children to confidently speak them patois in a parliament, out of parliament, in official, informal spaces, in informal spaces. For Read Across Jamaica Day last week, I went to a couple schools in my constituency. I didn't bring an English book about Spider-Man, Superman. I brought Jamaica Labrish by Louise Bennett. I brought Anansi Stories by Louise Bennett. And I was surprised a lot of the kids, they don't know who is Brother Tukuma, they don't know who is Big Boy, they don't know who is Anansi. We're losing it, and if we don't disrupt it, jolt society, then we're going to stay the same.
I was going to say I would suspect, I don't know. But I've seen Parliament, and you're a part of the opposition. If a member of the government did something that's wrong in Parliament, I suspect the opposition will jump on board and say, hold on, you did something wrong.
Well, that's up for debate. As I said...
Hold on. The rules of Parliament say you must speak standard English. That's not up for debate. That's the Standard Order 6,
yes,
isn't it?
Yes, but we were in what is called a sectoral debate. And the rules of debate allow you to use literary devices. This was a disruptive communicative device where you use jargons, you use slangs, you use other languages. I was following the rules of English language itself, which gives you literary devices that you can use. I did not, however, challenge the Speaker's authority. She made her decision. She had an option. She had an option to do what she did, which was quite predictable, or she could have risen to the moment to say, for our culture, for a spokesperson on culture to come into our house and to confidently speak our language. I could allow 2 sentences because that's what she could have done as an enlightened leader. But
was your presentation written entirely in Patois?
Absolutely not. My first two sentences were written in Patois, again, for the shock value to get the conversations going so that we can evolve our culture.
Bigfoot Gillette only say you me come bout, you know. Yeah, man. Nekeisha try speaks Patois, you try blacker. Watch the video with
Madam Speaker, me get up this afternoon to make my first sectoral speech for my portfolio. Hold on. Standing orders. And I think you are fully aware. And if I have to stop you again during your presentation, you will not get any additional time. Madam Speaker, perhaps I should abandon that attempt to use our local language because I have been reminded of the linguistic conventions of this honorable House. Because maybe there is no more fitting way to begin a presentation on culture than to speak briefly in the language understood by the overwhelming majority of Jamaican people.
when since Jamaican have to speak proper English in a Jamaica when we native language is Patois. When since no Jamaica, me explain this to you now. This is when we want to understand so the Bumbo will liberate them a puppet. Yeah man, Bigfoot, Bumbo Club, Black Ugly Juliet holding stop Nekeisha from speaking Patois in a parliament. Why is the reason for that? Because Jamaican people, they are serving the white people. They are not serving us. They're working for us. They're working for the motherfucking white people them. Yes! Now Jamaican people, tell me if this makes sense. And me know say, you can agree with me. Why was Nekeisha stopped from speaking Patois in parliament? If they did not want to keep the Dunsend labor right in the dark. Yes, they want to keep the Dunsend labor right in the dark. That's the reason why they want to speak proper English and use all these big terminology and all these big speeches and all these big words. Yes. So the little man who never got to school don't know when nothing mean when them a say. Cause them a use all of the college word them. Jamaica, let's not be fooled. Man like me over here, we can read and we know if you use technology. So we can translate and break down everything where they must say. See the people them are done sign literary if you understand. Now, Jamaican people, apart from me speak, I'm going to tell Bigfoot Juliet Owens and him man say them need to come out of parliament. Both of them need to come out of parliament. Because she should never be the speaker of the house. One, that's a conflict of interest. Two, 30 million out of the blood clot Melissa money alone spend. Where Andrew Wellness a hold on and the rest of Jamaican money for do? What is he planning to do with the rest of Jamaican money? No, Soko Juliet Wellness, me know you must see this. Yeah, freedom of speech. No one life has been threatened. Yes, me say it and me not take it black. You Soko Juliet Wellness, come to the front of the class. Nice clean Nekeisha. Mama, you have to can speak in a parliament. You speak a native language. Boy, you have a problem, you know. Hey, Nekeisha, you know, so me convince you Madam Speaker, I also ride the same bike. Yes, man. Me can't be say 200 ride the same bike. Because the way the 200 go at it in a parliament, me tell you already, you know, take it out of blood clot parliament. Take it out. Yes. Guys seem like a body feelings are carrying a parliament. As Nekeisha start talk Juliet, like a crow down pan her. Till Nekeisha have to carry her own a microphone in a parliament. I ever see this thing in my whole entire life from me on earth 37 years. I see people have to carry their own mic in a parliament. But you are Andrewless in a government. Yes, you don't have to expect anything like this. Because this is what they do. Dictatorship them depend. Controlling. Yeah, try with silent people. Yeah, them no want Jamaican speak up and they know like when the truth is out. Yeah, but you know me already Jamaica. This video is for entertainment purpose only. Like share and follow me. Big ugly Juliet oldest. Half of Jamaica. 99.9% of Jamaica not like you. Yeah, they only play hypocrite. Yeah, they don't say labor right them no count. Yeah, them no make up no number, cause them no value nothing in a
So, people, Nekeisha Burchell was doing her presentation speech, and she started off with Patois, which we all know and see it was deliberate. It was deliberate to provoke the Speaker of the House. And Miss Burchell, I am not supportive of that. I am not supportive. I have went ahead and go on Google and do my own research, right? Based on the section where Mrs. Holness said. She said section 3, page 3, right? Well, there it goes. Section 6, right, says language. And it continues there, where it says that the proceedings and debates of the House shall be in English language. Alright? Number 2, every petition shall be in English language. So Mrs. Holness was right, and I must applaud her. She's doing a good job, and we must allow the lady to do her job. We must allow the lady to do her job. She's doing a fine job. Let us debate about the topics and do the right thing. A lot of people out there are cursing and saying, yes, Patois is this and Patois is that. And yes, it is our culture. And I'm not saying that I don't appreciate our culture. Alright? But I'm telling you people out there, we must educate ourselves. You understand me? A lot of people are talking about we must get away from this slavery mentality and all sort of stuff and colonialism and all kind of thing. People, we must educate ourselves. English is out there for us to learn. These are some of the reasons why some of us are so ignorant. You understand me? Because the level of how we speak our patois, you understand me? We're not speaking it with care. We're speaking it with frustration. You understand? Tourists love to hear our words and stuff like that. But people, we have to look on the wider horizon. The wider horizon. You know? You're in this parliament and you're doing a presentation. Huh? So, you're doing a presentation. So what about people who are in England, different countries in Europe and so on, Asia and all over the place? You don't think they're watching? You don't think the world is watching? When you know making a speech in Jamaica dialect, right? And those persons from different countries, they cannot understand. Some of them barely can catch when we speak 1 and 2 patois if they are not a little bit familiarized with things. Huh? So, Miss Burchell, I adore you and I want you to do the right thing. You know, I want you to do the right thing. And Miss Holness, keep up the good job. Keep up the good job. I am just praying that we don't have another incident in the next 2 weeks from now with any of the members, whether it be JLP or PNP. I'm praying we don't have any more. Let us just do the right thing, people. Come on, man. There are so much things affecting Jamaica at the moment. Let us just do the right thing. Alright? Support each other, man. Let the country run proper, man. Let us do the right thing. This one bag of unnecessary drama, it is not needed. It is not needed. You understand me? Miss Burchell, you know better, man. Just do the right thing, Miss Burchell. We love you. You understand me? We love Miss Holness. Just do the right thing. You know? Do the right thing and make peace reign. What's so hard in that, people? What's so hard in that? Doing the right thing, make peace reign. Huh? Until next time, people.
Let's talk about the issue that is being discussed in Jamaica right now. About the use of patois in Parliament. Patois is our language. It should be the national language of Jamaica. English is not our language. English is a curse put on us by colonizers, forced on us, beaten, raped, tortured into us. Patois was formed by our ancestors who were kidnapped from Africa and brought to the Caribbean, brought to Jamaica, and forced to work freely, free labor, to enrich Britain and Portugal and France and Europe in general, but mostly Britain. Everything that Britain has right now. They got off slavery and invasion and pilfering of Africa. Europe had nothing, it was just a big old cold rock. Still is. That's why they still destabilize African nations to distract while they dig out the belly of Africa and take home. They don't have gold mines, but they have Africa's gold lining every part of their countries and Europe in general. Patois was created by the enslaved Africans who came from that vast continent to Jamaica in the belly of boats, rotting, stinking boats, chained up for months, shitting and pissing where they lay, beside other decaying dead people who couldn't survive the trip. In order to fight for their freedom, they had to find a language with which to communicate, because they came from all over Africa, thousands of different languages, because Africa is not just one little place, it's a huge continent with thousands of languages. And all those people had to find a way to communicate so that they could overcome the parasites from Europe. They had to find a way to communicate, to plan their revolutions. And so, over years, they came up with Patois, which is a mix of some French words, some Spanish words, some Twi, some Igbo, whatever, but little pieces here and there from different countries, but they put together a language. People who couldn't read and write, because remember it was illegal to even be able to read and write as an African or a slave. And those people put a language together. Those people, the Africans, were the first people they brought to Jamaica. Did all the building of Jamaica, suffering through all of what the enslavers threw at them. And they did it. Over time, as the slavers then couldn't keep their hands off the black women, they raped them, they murdered them, and then you had light-skinned Jamaicans being born. When the numerous revolutions got to them and they had to start thinking about stopping with the slavery, they brought over some Chinese indentured workers. Not much different from slaves, only that they didn't kidnap them. They sold them a bill of goods over there in their countries or wherever, and they came with them. They couldn't manage the work. Some died, some went home. A few stayed in Jamaica. 181 years ago, they brought some Indians. Again, the same outcome. Some couldn't manage it, some died, but a few stayed. But all of that pales to the fact that there were billions of Africans that were taken from Africa and brought over to Jamaica. Now you have these people who are descendants of slaves and enslavers and Chinese and Indian who came afterwards. And they all now turn up their nose at Patois, it not being a language. And some of the African descendants too, have been brainwashed to think that that language is not a good language, it's not a language. Queen's language, Queen's English is their language. That's some deep shit where brainwashing is concerned. That's how deeply they've been brainwashed to think that the language that was tortured into you is better than the one that your tortured ancestors still put together and has lasted till this day, because those ancestors survived using that language to see the end of slavery, fighting with everything that they got to see the end of slavery. Slave master didn't want to hear them speak it because the slave master couldn't understand it. So they beat the hell out of them and forced them to speak English that they could understand. But still, Patois didn't die. And now you hear these people coming in Parliament, in Jamaica's Parliament, telling you that you can't speak Patois in the Parliament. Them fucking bright. Those people are not your friends. The government of Jamaica is not your friends. They all work for Britain. You notice they don't even speak it. They don't speak Patois. You hear them breaking off their tongue point to try to come up with the right big words when they're talking to you, words that most Jamaicans don't understand. But they're not speaking Patois. They're not chat it. They scan it. Because to them, breaking off their tongue point to talk English show that they're knowledgeable and educated. And they're not. Because the mere fact that they look down at their ancestors' work of creating a language show that they're not as bright as they think they are, no matter how many subjects they think they have. They're still not as bright as they think they are. Because if you don't know yourself, and you don't know your history, you're a dumbass. And to say that you only want English spoken in Parliament, like Parliament in English, but to say that you don't want to hear Patois spoken in Parliament, whose Parliament is it? And a Jamaica Parliament? And a Jamaica Parliament? That's the language where we know. We hear that from we in our belly. And you come out and the first language you hear, that's it. That's Patois too. And that's what everybody talk every single day of their life. Every turn you hear it. So why you can't use it in Parliament? A Britain Parliament? No, it's not Britain Parliament, it's Jamaica Parliament. They're supposed to can speak their own language in the Parliament. And when are you going to be really free? You're not free. You're not independent. Because you have to do everything according to what Britain says. And the house slave them are forced it on people same way because they just want to act like them white and them British and they're not, you know. And I turn up your nose after Patois when the first language you want to learn to speak before you start twang. Some of the twanging don't even sound good, don't make no sense.
Talking Patois lead to poverty and a lower quality of life. Stay with me and I'll explain this bold statement that I just made, and I want you to stop and think long and hard about this conversation that have come up recently about the teaching of Patois in school. As for me, I think it's a nonsensical argument. I think it affects especially the poorer class of people within the society, and this conversation should be put to rest right now, immediately, at this point in time, because I think it's more about sensationalism than really examining in an in-depth manner the impact of Patois on the socio-economic status and quality of life that Jamaicans might live.
This is Talk Sense Media, your voice of reason in the noise.
Before I explain all of what I mean and tie everything together, I want you to listen to this part of the clip that was done during the interview with Nekeisha Burchell and Never Bell.
That was me disrupting it. That was me spurring the conversation to say it's time for change. And clearly Parliament wasn't ready for that conversation. But you know who's ready for it? The diaspora. Who's ready for it? Jamaica is ready for that conversation. And they're having the conversation. I get the controversy, but controversy is good. That is how culture evolves.
And also, to be fair to her, I want to also include this part of the interview that was done that many Jamaicans probably would not have heard.
I want Jamaicans, I want our children to be able to rigorously learn and speak the English language, but I want them to intelligently navigate the Jamaican language. I want them to own it.
Now, having listened, I have a serious problem with Nekeisha Burchell, not her personally, but even university lecturers that have been pushing this argument about Patois being taught in school. Now we need to separate this issue because there are two competing arguments being presented, and many Jamaicans get it confused because of the manner in which it has been stated repeatedly. So let me break it down for you. Now, as it relates to Patois, there are two issues. One, the talking of Patois. That's not an issue, has never been and will never be, because everywhere in Jamaica, every nook and cranny, you will hear persons talking Patois. So children will always be exposed to our native language, this Patois, this magical language that everybody wants to learn right across the world. United States, Canada, England, Germany, Japan. We have a wonderful cultural identity, but don't get that confused into thinking that it needs to be taught in school. It doesn't. The second issue that persons are getting confused is the cultural identity of the stories associated with our culture. These are two separate issues. The talking of Patois has nothing to do with the cultural aspect, where the stories of Brother Tukuma and Brother Nancy are no longer being told by parents to their children. That's a cultural issue. That is what is a threat, not our ability to speak. Why am I saying speaking? I'm sounding like these people when they are interviewed, talking in standard English, pushing the agenda of Patois. It's hypocritical. But I'm not going to use such a strong word because I think they are just ignorant, not looking at the complete picture and understanding the socio-economic impact that Patois has on Jamaica and especially the poorer class of people. Now, having said that, to justify my point, because some of you might say, why talk sense? I be a foolish brother you're talking of. Here's what I want you to do for me. Take a few seconds more to listen to this from Damien Crawford.
Madam Speaker, at the primary level, it continues. The fourth-grade literacy rate in 2025 indicated 65% at full literacy. This is down from 84% in 2015. Madam Speaker, we're moving in the wrong direction. For English language, at the PEP level, over 10,000 students did not achieve basic proficiency. From the age of 12, the failing is evident and prevalent in our children going forward.
What was Damien Crawford talking about? Low literacy and numeracy performance in schools. The entire presentation was not played, but he highlighted the issues from the primary school. He highlighted the issues at the CXC level. Everything is connected together. These are not isolated incidents or issues for contention. What nobody seems to be looking at is the impact of Patois, the impact of reading, and how it affects students' performance in primary school, which affects the school that they get into high school, which affects their CXC results based on the resources that the schools have, the quality of teachers that schools have, and I'm not bashing teachers, the preparedness of the students entering into these institutions is all tied in together. And this is a very important issue, a very important matter that seems to be slipping everybody. If you still not understand what I'm saying, I'll break it down even further. Who get the top PEP students after exams? The top performing students end up at Campion, Wolmer's. Everybody in Jamaica knows which school get the top performing PEP students. And likewise, everybody knows who get the students who are not at the level that they ought to be to enter high school. Still not following? The students who get the best grades, the 99% on their PEP, the 98% on their PEP are usually the best readers. Those are the children who have mastered the English language. They are able to read properly. They are able to express themselves properly. And therefore, there is a direct correlation between students' performance and their ability to read the English language, not Patois. Every child in Jamaica knows how to talk Patois. So if Patois is the issue, why is it that our children are not performing at the same level as those who are doing extremely well? Well, let me tell you, the pitney them who end up at the lower performing school can't read. They talk Patois very well, but they cannot read. They cannot articulate. They cannot write sentences. They cannot put sentences together to express themselves. They don't understand what they read. And therefore, it's not whether the kids are bright or not. The problem is that the kids cannot read. They don't have a problem talking Patois. Them just can't read. So all of these persons who are pushing this agenda of teaching Patois, you need to stop it. Because you're not a thought leader. You're not looking at the implication that is having on kids right now. The same argument that Damon Crawford keep beating the government for, which is not a government issue, by the way. It's not a government issue, it's a people problem. Parents are not teaching their children how to read. And everything that they say to the children, they say it in Patois. This child now goes to school, talking in Patois, cannot express himself in standard English. And that is where the problem lies. So you see how we tie into poverty? So the child goes to primary school, talking Patois, can't do the test, can't read. Literacy is extremely low. They go and do the PEP, they get a low grade. So they can enter the top performing high schools. So they end up at a non-traditional high school that doesn't usually have the best resources. But the children are already handicapped by the fact that they can't talk the language, that they can't speak proper English, they can't read, they can't articulate themselves, they can't express themselves in a manner that the person marking the paper can understand. Now what happens? They go to the lower performing school and they buck up a bag of pitney with the same issue. The reason some schools are not performing well is not coincidence. It's not because the kids are not bright. It's because they talk a lot of Patois and cannot read and cannot express themselves. And that is the root cause of the problem. So this nonsense that I hear some UA lecturer pushing, you need to stop it. You're not a thought leader. You're not looking at the spectrum as you should. You're not looking beyond the boundaries, the borders of Jamaica to recognize the impact that it is having on Jamaica. The socio-economic impact that it is having, how it's holding back our nation, how it's holding back our people. And the reality is that the poor people pitting them is being affected. And so I hope that no poor somebody from no garrison or lower socio-economic group don't jump on this nonsense that is being pushed in the society. I'm passionate about it. And you know why? Because I spent years watching children struggle. They say something in Patois and you say translate it in English. And they can't. They cannot translate what they just say in Patois. So how is it that Patois is an issue? Patois is not a threat. And we need to separate the issues and stop talking nonsense. Jamaica has a problem with its cultural identity and the stories associated with our culture, not the language, not Patois itself. There's no problem with talking Patois. There's a problem, a cultural problem with the identity, our cultural identity, and these are two completely different issues. Stop getting the issues confused. Stop encouraging parents to adapt or to buy into this narrative, because they are the ones who are being affected. Their children are the ones who are being affected. Their children are being handicapped by their inability to speak English language, and it shows up in their academic performance. It shows up later in life when they leave school without even a subject. What's worse, their inability to think rationally, their inability to put one and one together and get two, their inability to reason things out in a way that people cannot take them and turn them in an idiot and tell them the foolishness, because they have the ability to think. Reading is what engenders thinking. Reading is what going to determine whether persons continue to live in poverty or persons are able to take themselves out. The English language is not something to be played with. And I heard these persons doing interviews pushing the agenda of talking Patois in standard English. Come on, people, stop it, man. Stop it. The communities need to get together, have some reading sessions on Saturdays. The entire community, get the children out, have reading sessions, read to the kids, stop talking to them in Patois. Campion College has certain, if you go on the compound, most of those students are able to speak in standard English. They are able to understand what they are saying, and if needs be, they can speak in broken English. You go to the lowest performing schools, they talk in Patois and they cannot put a sentence in English. It has an impact, a long-term impact on these children's ability to matriculate and to become productive members of society. It handicaps the children. And so I hope that this will reach the ears of who it needs to reach. I hope that this video will reach far and wide and once and for all put things in perspective. The Patois is not a threat. Our cultural identity and the stories associated with Jamaica and our Jamaican culture, that is what is at threat. Both issues can be easily fixed. Parents teach your children to read, and for the cultural aspect, all that needs to happen is that these Brother Tukuma and Nancy stories just need to be read to the kids for them to participate. You question them just as you do with the English language to check for understanding of what they heard. Don't get the issues conflated and stop pushing this foolish narrative without thinking in a holistic way what the real issues are.
Wagwan, beautiful people of Jamaica. You know, guys, I'm so emotional. I'm so thankful. I appreciate the support that you give us in this particular channel. Thank you so much, my good people. So today we are going to talk about this particular situation whereby Nekeisha Bashel, a member of our parliament associated with the PNP party, spoke Patois in the parliament. And guess what? The speaker told her, you know what? Patois is not welcome here. And that has sparked an outrage among the Jamaican people. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like, this is what most people understand, yeah? But anyway, it's not in the... It's not like it's a rule there, so... I think... Anyway, I hope you listen to what Jamaican people are saying. And then now, let me just say what I think about the entire situation. So anyway, I hope you are all doing well, okay? I really appreciate everything. So today is another heated debate among the Jamaican people. And guess what, my good people? This now, it surrounds our politics. You know, normally we talk about probably management, mismanagement, you know, but today it's entirely about politics. And this one is, it touches on culture, on identity, on language, class issues, you know, because, you know, remember this particular member of parliament wasn't proud with the fact that she was forced to use a colonizer's language. All she wanted was to speak the language that Jamaicans understand, like 90% of the Jamaicans do understand. You know, Jamaicans are now arguing over this particular issue, like, why is it that Spanish was allowed in parliament, but the Patois was completely shut down? I mean, does that really make sense? Of course, no. So the center of the entire story is controversial in some way because, you know, Juliet Olness, the Speaker of the House, and Nekeisha Bashel, a member of Parliament, were in back and forth in Parliament. But of course, the Speaker had more power because, you know, she had the control of the mics. So I mean, if you want to speak, you are just under the mercy of the Speaker of the National Assembly, right? So people have talked, people have spoke out their heart out, and of course, there is an explosion everywhere among the good people of Jamaica. And of course, there are those that support, there are those that don't support. In every topic that we talk about, there will be always those who support and those who do not. So for those who support, or for some Jamaicans, I will say that they believe that the parliament must remain formal and use standard language that is understood not only in Jamaica, but the entire world. For instance, I will say English is a business language. If you want to do anything, close a business, it has to be in English, and it is a worldwide accepted language, business language. But apart from that, people across the world, they do speak different languages depending on the location, and yeah, there are so many factors that affect that. So of course, we have other people that are really, really uncomfortable with the fact that why is it that other languages like Spanish are being allowed, but when it comes to Patois, it's suddenly a problem. And trust you me, this discussion is deeper than the politics that we just want to talk about. Because, you know, at the moment, I will say this is about how Jamaicans see themselves. It's about the colonial mentality, it's about class division, and I can tell you that this is about whether Jamaica truly respects its own culture. So today I want us to talk about everything, and first things first, for people outside Jamaica who may not understand the issue. Jamaican Patois or Patois is not just a broken English, okay? It's how many Jamaicans, like how so many Jamaicans get to naturally communicate every single day among themselves. In homes, people speak Patois. In taxi park, people speak at the shop, football matches, everywhere, school, everywhere they do speak Patois. And I can tell you that even the professional people, you know, when they meet, when they're together, they do speak Patois. Teachers, they do speak it. Lawyers, they do. Doctors, they do. Politicians, they do. So you can see when Jamaicans get to hear that Patois is banned and is unacceptable in their own parliament, they will take that issue too personal, I can tell you, because according to them, this sounds like their own language, Patois, is being treated as inferior. Like, you know, when you speak Patois, you are not educated, some kind of thing. And that is a very big problem among the Jamaican people. So if you try to see how people really took it, it's bad. They didn't really take it well, given that someone else was allowed to speak Spanish, a colonizer's language. So people have come out, older people, younger people, you know, they are actually talking about JLP politicians being allowed in parliament to speak Spanish, and of course, there was no interruption by then. I hope you also watched the clip. It's attached here. No interruption was actually indicated there. It didn't become an issue. It wasn't like it's kind of dramatic in some way, like the way Nekeisha's was. So, of course, Spanish being acceptable and Patois being unacceptable. This one, it's hard because, of course, people will feel like we are being hated. Our own leaders do hate us. Our own leadership, they don't accept the fact that we are Patois people. We do understand ourselves. And you know, it's a big debate. I can honestly tell you, because you know, Jamaican people's argument, their argument are the arguments among the good people of Jamaica. They are very simple, by the way, because as much as the parliament operates under a formal rule, which is you know, you have to use English as the official language for recording, for proceeding, speeches, and everything, and of course by the Speaker of the House enforcing that, then it does not really mean that the Speaker became anti-Patois. According to some Jamaicans, it's just a procedure that needs to be followed. So, of course, many countries in the world, they do have a standard way of presenting their items in parliament. We have the official language, the national language, and of course, this becoming controversial in Jamaica. It does not really make sense according to some groups of Jamaica, because that particular session that was happening in parliament, it was not a market conversation, it was not a taxi park conversation, it was about speaking, it was about the members of parliament presenting the issues that are affecting the good people of Jamaicans. So they needed to do it formally, present it formally, record it formally in a language that is understood worldwide, not just by Jamaicans. And it's understandable, by the way. So, of course, those are some of the people that did support whatever happened in parliament. But again, we will have this other group that will not agree with what happened. Because according to them, they do believe that the issue was selective enforcement. And of course, they also believe that if indeed this rule was like really strict, then rules are rules, so they should be able to apply it equally, and they shouldn't depend on who is speaking, because or also the party that is speaking, like which party belongs to who. Like, I mean, they just want fairness. And that in mind comes in with this guy when he spoke Spanish. And the rules of the house says that it has to be a standard language, which is English. So, of course, people are kind of having a very mixed reaction, because many Jamaicans have this feeling of, you know what, Patois is like really accepted socially, but rejected in formal institutions. And, even this particular tourism industry, when they want to advertise their businesses, most of them, they do use Patois in music, and they do use it in their ads. And of course, it sells. This particular language sells, especially to the overseas clients. But then when this language enters into formal institutions, they're being denied, rejected, unaccepted. So of course, so many people are kind of uncomfortable, some are comfortable, and that is the feeling, the division that is happening now. So another thing that is really fueling this debate is the fact that Jamaica has a very complicated relationship with class thing. Language in Jamaica has always been used to, to associate it with social class. So, for instance, like if you do speak Patois, you are not intelligent, you're not going to school. But if you speak English, you are in a position to judge something critically. No, it's just, I will say these are just myths and misconception anyway, because it sounds weird when Jamaican speaks Patois and they're told you need to speak properly, sound normal and common. Don't speak bad English. They say Patois is bad English. So of course, the when the speaker denied Nekeisha from speaking Patois in parliament, it actually sparked reopened, old wounds, because Jamaicans now get to remember people being mocked and laughed at for how they just speak naturally, And of course, it's really emotional because people, when they go through bullying, it's really hurting and it touches like so much on identity and it feels sad at the end of the day. So many Jamaicans are not even saying that parliament should be like fully Patois or members of parliament should be allowed to speak Patois. Of course, it's not like really necessary, but again, a lot of people are just asking for respect, nothing else. They're not saying like, no, Patois should be accepted. After all, that is what 90% of Jamaicans understand. They're just demanding for respect. They're demanding for recognition, consistency. And these people are saying that, okay, if formal English is the standard language that should be used in formal institutions, then that will really complicate a lot of things because why should Patois be treated almost like it is embarrassing? Okay, we agree English is the standard and the formal language, but why is Patois being treated as if it's embarrassing? Why? Because that ruins the fact that many people really identify themselves with Patois. And I can tell you, it really makes sense when such kind of arguments come in. So Jamaica has had really interesting and serious conversations about culture and identity. And of course, so many people are talking about what authentic Jamaican culture really means. If you talk about education system, there is so much of colonial influence, so much of the language influence. And this particular issue moment that happened in Parliament, it really showcased a very intense and emotional environment because, people didn't expect that. They expected that the member of parliament will be told like nicely, but you could actually hear a lot of echo, broken English. Like, I mean, that was just sad. Anyway, guys, as soon as that issue in parliament happened, I can tell you that the supporters of People's National Party, they immediately accused the Jamaican Labour Party for hypocrisy, because JLP supporters, these people were saying that the speaker was just maintaining law and order and standards in the parliament. But of course, the ordinary Jamaican people became partisan in this issue. Of course, there are those that supported JLP, others attacked JLP, others sided with the PNP. But I can tell you that there are so many Jamaicans who genuinely feel conflicted because for them, they do understand both sides. They do understand the need for professionalism. And again, they do understand the importance of respecting Jamaican culture. And that puts them in a very weird situation. I don't know what you think about that, guys. Many people pointed out that Jamaican music has become global around the world just because of Patois. So if you come out and say that we don't recognize this in parliament, what does that mean? Because I can tell you that many tourists do travel to Jamaica just to learn Patois and imitate it. Like they're so proud of it. And you also see like many famous people around the world using this Jamaican languages, slang. And you can clearly see that it's really helping the country when it comes to it being known. So it was sad that it was rejected in their own parliament. And also, there was this issue that was pointed out about other countries embracing their local languages very proudly. But when it comes to them, they don't want it at all, at all. And for I don't know what you call, for instance, Pan-Africanism in Africa or around the world. I will refer to it as this group of people that really believe in Africa and Africanism and our own systems, our own language. So if you were to talk about I don't know how to refer to it in Jamaica, but for them, they do believe that this English thing is still viewed as superior language, and that shouldn't be the case. Because why should you treat Patois as a lower class kind of language? I don't know. I don't know. At this point, the Gen Zs of Jamaica, they actually feel very comfortable embracing the Patois language. And I hope they really get the support, because if they don't support it, then it's going to go. We should embrace our languages and love it the way it is. So thank you so much. If you watched the clip up to this point, I do appreciate the fact that you watched the clip today. Kindly comment down there. Kindly comment, guys. We need to know what you think about this issue. I'll see you in the next video. Every day, guys, expect a video, okay?